Well, hello there, friends and family. You know, it's been a while since we took a ride, hasn't it? And today, we are sort of, kind of waiting on, Weather Armageddon. If you wanted to listen to the TV and internet, Weather Channel, and what have you. You know why? Because they had hyped up old Fred, which by the time it hit, Puerto Rico, and that, it became a tropical depression, and it scooted across, Dominican Republic, Haiti, and everything. Didn't reform, of course, once it gets in the Gulf, it might become a hurricane. And I think for, all the media, mainstream and social, depending on what channel you watch, they were really hoping. So even if they weren't, directly in the path, they can do all those videos where, this is what we had. This is what we saw. But we survived. Of course, they leave that to the end. But I know a lot of y'all, you worry about old Mr. Tom, and I do appreciate that, and you worry for the kitty crew. And I appreciate that, and so do they. But I wanted to bring you out today, and it's overcast. Yep, heavy overcast. You can see all the dark clouds. But old Fred, they're still trying to tout, it's a tropical storm. And it does have a little bit of counterclockwise rotation to it. I gotta admit that. I'm saddened here, even though it needed to happen. The pine forest that I used to walk down this road, share some of with you, on the right side of the camera lens. If you haven't watched some of those there woodland walkabouts, you should. It's gone. But you know what? It'll be back. And if I live long enough, those trees will be 20, 30 feet, maybe even 40 feet high. I'm just saying. Oh, don't worry about the junkyard there. That's a good thing, in my mind. Because they got some focuses in there. I might be able to get me some cheap parts. But I just thought we'd take a ride today. I need to take a ride, charge up the old battery here on the Focus, and recharge myself. Yep. I haven't been off the place in, a minute, as the young folks would say. Nope, I haven't. I drive around the neighborhood every couple of days, whatever, in an attempt to keep battery and everything going on the old Focus. But that ain't quite enough. In modern day cars, there's all kinds of stuff to stay going. Even though the key's off, passive security systems, all kinds of crap. And if you leave your car sitting nowadays for about, a week, 7 days, 10, you'll find it just ain't gonna crank. Or at least that's been my experience with the Focus. It wasn't that way with my truck. Of course, the truck has a problem right now. It's sort of got something drawing the battery down. And then somebody stole my battery charger. When I say somebody, I know who did it, because they asked if it was for sale. And I said no, and they were a little perplexed, because they needed one. And so I'm thinking, can't prove it, that maybe he just went ahead and helped himself to it. Who knows? And you know what? When something like that happens, I just look at it this way. If they need it that damn bad, welcome to it. I'm good with it. Now, if I could prove it, I'd make them work. You know what I'm saying? Let's head on down here. and a little bit more rural Alabama on the tar and gravel county road. So that road up there was too smooth. You see, that would now we're getting on another smooth one, freshly asphalted. See, that would upset the guy that's up in sort of north central Alabama. You see, he thinks everybody in Alabama or in the world thinks Alabama is just a backwards place. So he promotes that on his channel. I ain't gonna call what his channel is, but he's here in Alabama. And it was that individual that spurred me to make a video where I went out on some of our dirt roads and I showed, yeah, we got dirt roads, but they're well maintained. And that was after constant rain for days and days and days. Unlike what he was saying, our roads are all crap. You know, I just don't understand him. I actually sent him a message. You know, he's born and raised in Alabama. I said, I don't understand why you hate where you live so bad. You know, the roads are terrible. You know, the water's polluted. The animals are all sick and dying, starving. Your picture of Alabama, first of all, I know isn't true. And second of all, I know it because I live here too. Now, he never responded. But you know what? I had some other creators that thought I was talking about them. And of course, this here individual in Alabama thought that it would be cool because, you know, the whole rest of the world thinks the movie Deliverance is about Alabama. Because, you know, Alabama and Mississippi are the worst, right? So, he wasn't too educated on the subject. And he didn't even know the movie wasn't even about Alabama. Or that it was even filmed in Alabama. It was actually filmed up in Georgia. North Georgia to be exact. So there you have it. Well, we thought we'd come on down here and check out what the lake looks like. See, we're about to get really rural. So hold on. Now, I've taken y'all down here one time before. This is sort of a favorite place for me. Well, it's one of my many favorites that I want to go to. Of course, somebody done stole the sign. There's just a brown arrow pointing down here. Of course, that's probably the locals. Because they don't want people coming down here. You know what I mean? And messing with us. And I can't say that I blame them. So maybe they're mowing grass on the side of the road. Of course, you can see it all on the road. When I mow grass, I blow grass clippings out on the road. You know what I do? I come back and blow them back in the yard. Or I put the grass catcher on and suck them all up and use them as a compost or mulch. And you can see, here it is, August 16th, and Alabama's just green. It's so green it'll hurt your eyes. Of course, you can tell by all the leaves and stuff on this road. This road ain't traveled a whole lot. Nope, it's not. And I sort of like that. We sort of keep this place hidden, even though it's on the Alabama website, you know, Forever Wild. Yep, and we're going there to a Forever Wild place. And that's another thing most people don't realize about Alabama. We got a pile of land that's, you know, nature preserves, state parks, federal, national parks, national forests. But we also have this here one program where we have land that's turned over to the state to be forever wild. Yep, you ain't supposed to pick up a stone, nothing. You're supposed to leave it there. Of course, that's not quite always the case. You know? And there's places to stop off in your vehicle and have you a little bit of lunch. Yep, here we are, Forever Wild, Coon Creek. That's Raccoon Creek, just in case anybody thought that was a racial slur. Yep, I know how people think about Alabama. We're gonna head on down in here to what's long ago. All of this area was the native home of my Native American brothers. Yep, the Creek Nation, not Cherokee, Creek. Of course, that dividing line between the Creek and the Cherokee moved back and forth, you know, along the length of what is now Alabama. Yeah, they had like wars going on for like 400 years. Most people don't know that. Yeah, there's a little picnic table, still looking fine. I'm surprised. You see, people get out in these public areas and they act like a fool. They can't take care of them. They trash them out. And then they wonder when the state or a private individual or, you know, a company shuts them down. Yep, they wonder. And there's a little boat launch here, right there. You know, a little boat ramp. Ain't fancy. It's just some of that there good river creek, you know, that we forgot how to make. It'll last forever. And I used to launch my boat right here with my son and my daughter, Ashley and James. We'd head out here on the lake. This is actually Yates Reservoir. The locals here call it the Middle Pond. Yep. It ain't real big. I forget how big it is, but if you look it up on Google Earth, Yates Dam or what have you, you'll be able to see it. But it's got some of the best fishing you'll ever see. And we're just gonna park here. And we're gonna get out and look at a few things, because since the last time I was here, I see some fools been here doing something they should not to do. And if I got a trash bag in the car, I'll try to clean up some of this. Why? Because I'd like it to stay open. Of course, I think if I call the state, I can get me permission, even if they close it. Yep. So let's get out of the car. You know, y'all unbuckle, jump out. And we'll take a little walk about. We ain't gonna do a whole lot. And check things out. And see the condition of things. And you know, part of this video is not only me taking a ride to charge up the focus and everything, you know, get my mind right. You know, I've been worried about a lot of things. I'm sure all of y'all are. We don't know where this world is going. Lord knows there's a dozen or two things that could kill us at any minute, you know. And so let's get out and do something constructive, okay? So yeah, here we are, and like I say, it's overcast. It's so humid, you can sweat just standing. Got a light breeze coming in. I'm thinking, since that old tropical storm or depression Fred's just starting to creep into Alabama, crossing the Florida Panhandle, you know, we got that counter rotation going on. So the wind right now is coming in from the northeast. As you can see, it's rippling up a little bit of the lake that we can see right there. And see, this is the stuff that just irritates the stew out of me. People throw the garbage out. And then I want you to look at this. See there? In the middle of the parking lot, some fools from Alabama been sitting there burning stuff. Yeah. Sure have. And by the looks of it, some of it was wires and all that. Looks like a computer panel there to me and everything. So I'm thinking they done stole some electronics. I can see light bulbs in there and all kinds of stuff. Over here they got clothes hanger, Over there, some other kind of electronics. And I guess their whole purpose was burning this, get the copper. That clean copper is worth some money now. Dirty copper, which has insulation and all that on it, ain't but maybe a third of the price. Yep, this is where we're at in 2021. Of course, in all honesty, this is where we've been at, and it don't matter about Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, what have you. And see, here's some just regular garbage. And that, a bunch of Q-tips, toothbrush, yeah, got a Sharpie over there, salt. Here's somebody's knife. Ain't a bad knife. Yeah, I think I'll keep that. Take her home and clean her up. I could always use another knife in the garden or whatever. There's a few razor blades and what have you. Yep. Oh, somebody left their mask right there. Got football on. Well, at least they were protecting themselves against COVID. Yeah. So sad. This kind of stuff just pisses me off. As I used to say to the kids, life's which God hadn't seen. But I know it just ain't here. Because I've lived in so many different states. And God knows I've lived in many countries. I didn't want to be there. It was just the way things were. Once upon a time, that time being 15, 20 years ago, there was actually a little sandy beach here. Of course, the state don't keep it up anymore. And the people don't. I think it was more of the people in the local area. We all had families, children and everything. And, we didn't mind bringing in a dump truck or two of sand to make a little sandy beach. And then a swimming place for the children. Yep. You see, now, people all want the government to do everything. And there was a time when places like this, and it ain't all been that too long in my lifetime, that these wouldn't have even been here. If you had to depend on the government, you had to make them yourself. Yep. Yeah, look, somebody, they've been enjoying some natural light. Yep. Yep. At least they, had a shopping bag here to put the garbage in. Of course, they couldn't take it with them. Now, this may piss off some people, and I don't care. That's outright damn lazy. I don't care what you say. I don't care where you're at. We all worry about climate change and man's influence on the planet. Yeah. We worry about plastics polluting our environment. CO2 making it warmer. Not at least. Probably half of the world believes that. The other half believes it's BS. And for one who spent, oh my God, hundreds of hours trying to figure all that out, I still can't say either way. Is this grand solar minimum? Well, I tracked that, and right now, sunspots are twice what they were predicted to be as we're going through the beginning of solar cycle 25, coming out of the minimum between solar cycle 24 and the beginning of solar cycle 25. And you can see that online too. So I don't know. Woo! Here we go. Yep, brought a shopping bag. put our empty beer cans in. But again, we couldn't take it with us. And once I put this camera up, you know, after I'm tired of lecturing that people don't appreciate, you know, what they have until it's gone. And see, that's what'll happen. Because you see all over these reservoirs, whether it was, Yates Reservoir by the Yates Dam, Thurlow Reservoir, that's right beside my home, or Lake Martin. Alabama Power used to have a lot of public access areas, camping, picnicking, you know, all that. Now, they were a private company. They're one of the largest power producers in the state of Alabama. Yeah, they are. And they didn't mind doing that. But you know what? One by one, eventually, they had to shut them down, close them up. Yeah, they did. Why? Well, it wasn't because they hate people or any of all that. No, it wasn't. Because people couldn't do right. They just trashed them out. Left all the garbage. You know? You can see it's wet. And it's been raining. It's been so gloomy at the house. Even though today, you know, it was highly overcast and all that, I just need to get out of the house. And I'm thinking, for many of y'all, you had to get out of the house too. Now listen, I'm going to shut my trap for a minute. I want you to listen to the water. I think you'll hear an amazing sound. You know, just as soon as I shut my mouth, it stopped. Could you hear it? It's ever so light. Gotta have clean ears. And that, to hear the little gurgling and all of that. And there are hiking trails in this particular section. One of several near my home of Alabama Forever Wild Properties. And they're quite diverse. All kinds of trees. You can see pine cones here. Right there. There's oaks, pines. Oh, sycamores. Yeah. Even paper bark birches. Not the white kind, the brown kind. Even though you might have thought those didn't grow in Alabama. Yeah, they sure do. See that? Paper bark birch. And if you are a survivalist, one of them bushcrafters, or so you think, getting some of this stuff and putting it in your bug out bag. Of course, it's got to be dry. Right now it's a little damp. Woo, baby. You throw a few sparks on this, and you got fire in a minute. That's how the Native Americans started their fires. You know, they didn't need that there butane torch to start their charcoal fire. I'm just saying. Hopefully y'all can hear the wind. Now I hope you can hear the birds, because they greeting old Mr. Tom as we head up this hill. Because there's a little bench here. We ain't going far, okay? We're just going to sit a spell. Enjoy nature and clear our thoughts, our minds, and our heart. But it's just like here. I don't know what is with young people. You know, they got to make their mark. And I'd like to make their mark right on their backside. I'm just saying. So y'all, I thought we'd sit on this little bench, enjoy the sounds of the wind, the lapping of the water, and the sound of nature. Of course, you know, Mr. Tom can't keep from rambling on. You know, ain't no mosquitoes out. Of course, it ain't but 2 in the afternoon. You know, that's a great thing about retirement. I can come out and do things like this. Yeah, this cheap, don't cost no money. Close to the house. No, I say close. Well, about a 10-minute drive, but that's okay. We have closer places, but I knew I'd be all alone with just all of y'all up here. And that. You know, we got some bottled water. You know, I brought some chips. Man, you know, if anybody gets really hungry, there's a bologna and mustard cheese sandwich in there. No, I won't mind sharing. I think we got some golden flake chips, you know, those wavy ones. And maybe a little bag of Fritos. I'm just saying. That's about all the old man could scrape up today. I ain't been in the store in a while. Of course, those of you with the channel for any length of time and watch the videos, you'll know it's been a few weeks since old Mr. Tom went at the grocery shopping. Now, I haven't left the place much. You know, there are things happening right now that, you know, I guess I'm just not manly man enough. Or maybe I'm just not willing to roll the dice. Or go crazy. Or maybe, you know, I've chose to by all methods take the safe route. Not take my chances. You know, that's the way life is. We all, you know, have that choice. And I'm a firm believer in that. As long as there is one caveat. And that caveat is, it harms none. Now, I'm just not saying it don't harm my family, my friends, my loved ones. Every decision I've ever made in my life, I weighed against that simple statement. It harms none. Now, I know what some will say. Well, if you've been in the military, you've been this or you've been that, then that there sentence ain't valid. Well, I agree. There are times when you gotta set that aside. You surely do. But even in my life, when that's happened, you know, I've had to think a little bit about it. Sometimes didn't have the time. But in times afterwards, and I still pondered. You know, was that the right thing to do? Now you gonna hear some crap. And we gotta get up because some fool is in the ATV tearing things up here. And you know, Mr. Tom, thank God he always comes with a can of that there. What do they call it? Whoop ass in his back pocket. Yeah, and I might be 65, I might have COPD, and I might not be the muscular, trim person. that I once was. But as long as I still got that 1 can left, I'm good to go. See, they had a little bridge right here over the creek, but you can see with all the rain Alabama's had, which has resulted in localized flooding, the bridge is all clobbered up with debris. That's why we had to come over here. But whoever that person was on that four-wheeler that you heard, I'm sure you heard it, because I did and started coming. Because you see, he wanted to sit around here and do donuts and do all kinds of crap until he heard me coming. And I'm sort of wishing he'll come back. Yep, see right here? Now if you pay attention to earlier in the video when we walked past here, you won't see this here donuts right here. See them? Yeah. And I'm sure you got fools like that in your state. Well, it's Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, Georgia, Michigan, Minnesota, Utah, list goes on. I mean, what kind of person needs to come down here and do this crap? See, that's a destructive individual. And what he don't know today, I'm in a mood. I'm in a teaching mood. Now he comes on back down here while the old man's here. I hope he's about 7 foot tall, 400 pounds, and built like the Hulk. And even if he is, gets back to that 1 can of whoop ass in the back pocket. And excuse me, ladies, I'm sorry for saying that. That kind of stuff pisses the old man off. You know, I was up there trying to sit and have a quiet moment, enjoy the sounds of nature, you know, clear my mind, clear my heart, clear my soul. And I wanted to share that with all of y'all because of people like that. You see, even here, out in the deep rural area of my state, Alabama, I've lived a long life. Yep. And I'll be darned if I'm going to head out of this life turning my back, closing my eyes, or laying down. That's just not me. Now, I'm not saying people who choose to do that choose to just turn their head and walk away. You know, that gets back to a personal choice. In my mind, a lot of things wrong with the world, wrong with this country, are all because of people. They choose to turn their head or bow their head, turn around and walk away. You know, and then it's those same people that want to say, I don't want the government needs to go away, I just want to live my life. Well, it's those people. But let us say for a moment, the police were gone, the military was gone, and we went back to a time where it was just us against us, the natives, the wildlife, and everything. You know what? I'll guarantee you, there's at least 70 or more % of America wouldn't be happy with that decision. No. Because see, that's why government gets so big. We're not willing to do it for ourselves no more. We want somebody to do it for us. Yep. And I've been one of those all my life. That I'm going to do every damn thing I can for myself, including defend myself, defend my property, defend my children, defend my spouse, before I make that call. And definitely before I think they're coming. to help me out. Same way natural disasters. You know, I've showed you some preparing over the course of this channel the last couple of years. Not a lot. But I did a video a time or 2 or 3 back that showed you on Mr. Tom. He got it more than covered. And of course y'all didn't even see the half of it. But that was just to ease some of y'all's minds. Show you the old man ain't got seen now yet. And don't believe everything's chipper and rosy. I try to cover all my bases. And it was because of things that have constantly come up in the last year and a half. That's why I like to get out here. Listen to the water rippling. Listen to the wind. You know? Listen to the sounds of this forever forest. The wildlife. If you didn't hear what that fool was doing while we were sitting on the bench, go back and watch the video again. Yeah. See, in his mind, he's got the right and freedom to do that. Yeah, well, maybe he does, because there's no law around. But when there's some little old man that thinks somebody should not impose their freedoms on them, yeah. No. If I ever caught my son or my daughter doing something like that, I would have tanned their behind. You know it. If that offends any of y'all, well, you can't deal with that, well, I'm so sorry. Definitely wasn't child abuse. Nope. Of course, I will give my kids credit. They hardly ever put their father in that situation. In fact, in all honesty, I can't remember a time. It got close at times where I might have had to make that decision. But it never got there. And I'd like to think maybe I had a little hand in that, in their upbringing. Maybe it was the wife too. And maybe it was the teachings and faith we had in God, our Heavenly Father. I'm just saying. Both doing fine. You know, they've been through hell likes which I could have never, ever dreamed they'd been through. You know, both of them served their country. Yes, they did. Both of them are fully disabled. And it ain't because, you know, they shot themselves in the toe. And I ain't gonna get into all that. You know, I like to lost my son for sure, and I like to lost my daughter. When I say like, I mean, there was a long time there. There was a lot of praying that I'd like to thank God right now that in my heart and my mind brought them through. They have my thanks. And I've saluted few people in my life that didn't deserve it. And I've saluted them several times during the course of their military training and service. And even though I didn't want them to join and go, couldn't tell them not to. Had to be their own choice. I really don't even think they know until maybe they watch this video just how proud their old papa was and still is of them. And, you know, I know if my son would have been out here today, or my daughter, and they'd heard that person cutting up in that four-wheeler, they'd have come. Yep. They'd have come out of the woods just like I did. Now, of course, I had all of y'all with me. So I sort of kind of had an army, you know. Yep. Well, at least here in our virtual neighborhood, our community. Now, I'd have laid the camera down, folks. Because that would have been one thing. Ain't about views and ain't about clicks. It's about what I feel is right. And what that person has no respect for. This channel has never been about clicks. Never been about views. Never been about subscribers. Nope, never has been. You know what? It's been about sharing my life, what's left of it, with my son, my daughter, my grandson, the few close friends I still have, my family. And then, somehow magically, it turned in to thousands upon thousands of y'all. Who would have ever thunk it? Well, this little old country engineer sitting down here in deep South Alabama, he would have never thought it. You know what? I think I'd come down here sometime, sit on that bench, and I could do some real writing. Maybe come fall. Because even today it's 84. 99% humidity. I'm not sure what the heat index would be, but it's still toasty. And we're getting damp and moist. It's just a way of life in the South. Can you imagine for a minute what our Native American brothers and sisters endured? I'm thinking right now, see, if you really turn off the sound and look at this and project your mind out there, you'll see right over there on that bank towards the point, there was a small Indian village. Yeah, it's on the map in the Alabama archives up at the University of Alabama. Yeah. You see now, this wasn't a reservoir back then. It would have been just the Tallapoosa River down yonder, filling up the river gorge. But I'm thinking on a day like this, to escape the heat, you'd hear them out there swimming, bathing, washing their clothes. You know, they weren't animals. They did all those things. Playing, having a good time. And like I said, if you just sit here quietly enough and listen, maybe it's just me getting old. Maybe. You know, it's dementia, hallucinations, or just wanting it to be. When I listen closely, I think sometimes I can hear their laughter and their splashing as they play. I'm just saying. Now, there was a creek that comes down through here, so it wouldn't have been devoid of water, but it wouldn't have been backed up like this. And as you can see, and this is the way all of Alabama is right now, as far as I know. We are plumb full. All of our reservoirs, our rivers, our lakes, our creeks, our streams, what have you. And that just ain't the case out west. And I can't tell you how my heart goes out for those people. Yep. I hate it for them. but it ain't like it ain't been that way before. I know I may get some hate about that statement. You do research, you'll know it ain't gonna be the first time, and it definitely ain't gonna be the last time. And that. And there's been a lot of talk here of late that we should come up with a system to take water from like this area and divert it west. Now there's going to be some strong opposition to that, let me tell you. Yes, there would. It's not only the enormous cost of it. Why is one part of the country any better than another part? In my mind, that's my thoughts. Well, y'all, in truth, I didn't know I was going to get into all the subjects I got in today. To come on out here today and clear, you know, my heart, my soul, and my mind. Or my heart, my mind, my soul. Sort of a reset. Yeah. And then you get to thinking. Since all of y'all jumped in the car and came along, see, I can chat with you. Has y'all not been here? You know, I've been talking to myself, nature, God, and all the wild creatures. Yeah, the old man, all his life, has talked out loud when he's been out in the woods. And Lord knows I spent a pile of time out in the woods and the mountains, in the valleys below, in the gorges, canyons, foothills, oh, the plains, the coast. Now I've gotten older now. You know, I can't hunt my ruck like I once used to. But I can come someplace like this and enjoy it. As long as some person don't come to destroy it. Yep. So y'all, I know some of you gonna, you know, be displeased by some of this. You know, you should just turn the other cheek. You know, you see, that's what evil wants. That's what evil people that take advantage of you, they want you to. Just keep turning that cheek. You see, when I read that verse, it don't say keep turning that cheek until you're bloody. And I've read 1,000 more times in my life. It does say turn the other cheek. It don't say keep doing it till your face is all red and bloody. Or at least that's my interpretation of it. I'll turn my cheek one time. But you want to keep pressing it? We ain't turning no cheek. We coming right at you. Well, we got somebody else wandering down here. So we're going to get on back to the car. And take her on out of here, okay? Well, y'all, somebody else pulled down in here. And they sitting over by the car. Because apparently they want to wait till Mr. Tom leaves. Till they do anything. Of course, they went ahead and got one fishing pole out for 3 of them. Yeah, see, when somebody does that, I get a little suspicious. Who knows? Hopefully, they're up to all good and not to no good. So we're going to head her on up out of here. I hope you forgive old Mr. Tom if he's ranting a little bit today. I didn't mean to do that until, like I say, that there person come down and disrupted my peace of mind and y'all's that I was trying to share with you. On that bench as we overlooked the lake there on the side of that there hillside, or ridge as we would call them here in the deep south of Alabama. They just locals. Lord knows what they up to, but they hanging close to the car as you saw. One fishing pole for 3 people. To me, that's a little suspect. Well, I don't know. Even when I bring Davy along, you know, we got 3 fishing poles. One for me, one for Davy, and one for Ashley. You know, when the kids came along, came with me, of course, everybody had a fishing pole. Rod and reel, cane pole, something. So I'm just saying. Yeah, and I guess, you know, some come for fishing, some just come for sitting like I did today. Now, I could have grabbed some poles out behind the door in the bedroom. Or walked out the shop where I got a passel of them still. In a big old tackle box from back in the day. When I fished a whole lot. Those days have long past. Now, it ain't all about the fishing. It's more about just coming, throwing a line in. Really don't care what it's baited with or what the lure is on anymore. Because it ain't about the catching as much as it is about just sitting there relaxing. Or so it was when the old man was working 6-7 days a week. You know, 13 to 18 hours a day. When we got a holiday, well, I'd like to come on the lake if I could squeeze, you know, a few hours out and just sit there and let it all go. Let that ripple into those waters wash across, you know, my heart, my mind, and my soul. And if you haven't been to a river, a creek, a stream, a lake in your local area since you can remember, well, my mind, you're way overdue. Get out in that car, head there, throw you some sandwiches in the cooler. Don't gotta be much. Some bottled water, you know, some chips if you got them, or you can make your own. Yeah, I got a video coming up because, you know, most people now in America, they're chip challenged. You know what I'm saying? They don't know how to do that anymore. But when I was growing up, we hardly ever, and I mean hardly, I guarantee I was in my middle teens where my daddy and my mama ever brought home a store-bought bag of chips. No. Nope. She'd slice those potatoes up so thin you could read a newspaper through them. Daddy'd get the grease hot on the stove in the evening time for, you know, movie time or TV time. You know, things like Walt Disney World, the Lawrence Welk Show, Mary Tyler Moore, you know, those kind of shows. And they'd make us up some of them there homemade potato chips. Oh yeah. And I still remember how. And I used to do that with my children. And if you want a fun night with your children and your grandchildren, you should venture off and try that sometimes. I'm just saying. Yeah, I know it's a lot of work. I know it's a lot of time. And I know, you know, unless you use a deep enough pot or deep fryer, it can be messy. But hey, some of the best things in life make a mess. Some of the best things in life take time. Yeah. Live on the wild side. Take the time, make a mess. Yeah. I'm just saying, as we're riding back to the old neighborhood, you know. You can see it's getting a lot darker outside. And that ain't because it's getting all that much later. It's only about 3:20 in the afternoon. You know, we set out doing this, it was right around 2, so it ain't like we've been gone long, and I was going to spend more time there, but, you know, people, you just can't escape them. Every once in a while, you know, I've got some special places, of course, you got to walk into. And they take some effort. And you'll be almost guaranteed, now I'm not saying 100% all the time, but most times, 100, I would say 99.9, you ain't going to see a soul, you ain't going to hear a soul. Yeah. But I didn't want to do that today because I know we got storms coming up from the Gulf. And I didn't want to be out here like I've been so many times over the years, where, you know, the lightning's flashing, the thunder's rumbling, and old Mr. Tom's having to scramble to find a place to hunker down. Now, I've been on the lake so many times, you know, when that's been happening. And I mean, that was in my aluminum john boat. Now, I'm going to tell you, when it's lightning, aluminum john boat on the surface of the water is not the place you want to be. I'm just saying. Ooh, that'll get scary. You should just ask my son James and my daughter Ashley. Oh yeah, Ashley be about in tears. We've seen that lightning hit the surface of the water. And I'd like to think God was watching over us. He made sure it just hit the water. Not close to us either. Yep. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed seeing what we're looking like now with old Fred coming on up the pike, as we call it. He's easing on up, you know, the west coast of Florida. I think he's about midway through the Panhandle, sort of splitting Alabama and Georgia state line. You know? Now I'm hoping he trails off east, because we're already damp, moist, and wet. All those things. As you can see, we're filled to the brim. So it ain't like we're in a water deficit here. Maybe they need more water in Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. I watch some channels up there in South Carolina, North Carolina, and some of those areas up there have been dry. So maybe old Fred will head on up there and bless them with a little rainfall. So y'all, that's about it for this video. We're going to cut it on into the neighborhood here in just a moment. I've been there many times before. Yep. And we're going to go in. And we're going to go on in and get us a cold drink. And I'm thinking, you know, I can get me some of that there iced chamomile tea, because I may take an afternoon nap. I'm just saying. Here lately I've been enjoying them too. I mean, what else you gonna do when you're retired? I waved to that guy and he was just darn right stared me down unfriendly. Yep, even here in the South, deep South, some people, they ain't just, you know, neighborly. No. Yep, church replaced the toilet. Well, we got some Grecos there. Nope, those aren't crows. Oh, we got a lot of them. Look at that. Crows are much larger. Those are Greckles, or blackbirds as we call them here in the South. There's a pile of them out there. Yep. If I had tomatoes right now, they'd be all over them. Well, here we are. We're at the hacienda, or the old home place. So y'all can all climb back out. You can come sit on the front porch and have a cold drink with me if you'd like. Or you can venture back to your home places, your family, friends, and loved ones too. And as always, to old Mr. Tom, the kitty crew, you know, Speedy, Spooky, Cleo, Elrod, which were all here this morning. No, we didn't get that on camera. And Gracie, which is on weather alert. Last I saw her, she was curled up next to the weather alert radio. And that on the end table in the living room, or as I refer to it, Gracie's room. Yeah, y'all out there, take care, stay safe, and God bless each and every one of you, your family, your friends, and loved ones. To old Mr. Tom, Kitty Crew, and Gracie, see you on the next one. Goodbye for now. You know, all I want to do was have some peace and quiet. And that fool had to come disrupt it. Such is life.